back, guys, to another episode of Shades of Reality. And today we have a very, very, very special guest. Because I know a person, I've known her for years. I mean, we haven't seen each other for absolutely like decades, like properly. So a very special and colourful guest by the name, by the name of Sherell Dillion, also known as SB.
Hi, guys.
Model, published model.
Yes.
Actress, mother, and you're spokeswoman for domestic violence organisation Y. You're also the founder of your upcoming clothes line or fashion line, SB's Boutique, which raises awareness for domestic violence.
Yeah.
Would you just say
through
domestic
fashion,
violence?
just trauma.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we've all suffered trauma from a kid, whether it's sex trafficking, abuse, just what you've gone through as a child, you know what I mean? Some sort of trauma.
And domestic abuse, can I just say something? It's not just about intimate relationships. Domestic violence is
within families.
So I think we need to
friends,
break that stigma sometimes. No, it's serious. So I think we need to discuss that more instead of making it just a, you've survived. You're going to talk about that, but we've suffered domestic abuse from early age, before we get into our relationship with our intimate partners. So I think that's so important that we highlight on that, because I think that's what causes a lot of issues. Not blaming anyone, it's just our environment from childhood, I think, personally. So from Birmingham, achieved a lot from a place that's not really recognised, is it? No. As much as it should be. Because we have a lot of talent here. I just think it's the way it's been nurtured, I think, but that's another story. Sherell, come on, tell us where it all started.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me, because again, the last podcast I'd done was a few months ago. Yeah. So it's just nice to be back again, and this time just more talking about Sherell. Because when you reached out to me and was like, you've watched my other podcast, and everyone talks about SB, but when you gave me the question, like, who is Sherell? Let's go deeper. That had me, like, fully thinking, because I haven't been Sherell in a long time, but I walk as SB, so it's getting me emotional already. So the fact that, who is Sherell? When you asked me that question, I was like, okay, cool. Even spoke to a mutual friend of ours, Shane. He was like, I can tell you who Sherell is. You know what I mean? And he gave me a list of stuff. But analysing the situation, Sherell is...
Shout out to Black Woman Fashion Show.
Yes, Black Woman Fashion. Big up Shane Campbell. Yeah. Yes, you get me, my Jenna. But again, thank you for hooking this up as well. Because this is also...
He's the one who said, Shadia, come on, man.
You know what I mean? Yeah. She's got a real story. So I appreciate him for always supporting me as well. So Sherell is a daughter, she is a mother to 3 children, but only 2 are here, rest of her soul, the first one.
All praise.
I am a sister, I'm the oldest of 5 siblings, they came into the world finding me, I never came into the world finding them,
Anyway. Go on, carry on.
Sorry, but Sherell is loving, caring. She just hides herself because she's been through a lot.
Protection?
Yeah. Sherell's been abused physically, mentally, sexually. So not many people see her. I only see her at home, really, only the real really see Sherell like now. And I just think it's only fair that you really do see the real me.
If you would need anything, girl.
Yeah, that's fine, thank you. Sherell, as I said, has just been through a lot, but I wouldn't change Sherell at all.
You wouldn't be who you are today.
I wouldn't be who I am with, like, God gave me my name, my family gave me my name, but God knew who I was, before them. So he knows who I am, And
Preach,
for me
sister.
to even get to know who I am, I had to know who he was. And even then, it took a long time for me to know who Shirel is, because again,
I'm
still learning, you know what I mean? And that's why I'm also trying to come back as Shirel. As much as I love being SB, and SB does the modelling, even though Shirel does, but I feel like, I know people are going to be like, oh, she's speaking about herself and like two people here. But that's because...
we have many lives in one.
You know what I mean? So
you know,
it's just different parts of my life, you know. I always say Shirel was Shirel until she was 14, and then she was given the name SB, you know, at 14. And then going through like domestic violence, I was still Shirel.
Sorry, can I stop you? Yeah. Domestic violence, are you talking about your intimate relationship or from a child? Where do you think it's
Okay, yeah, so from a child, I feel like even though I was the oldest sibling, I never got seen as the oldest sibling. And as much as I love my mum, you know, I don't think she didn't help with the situation. You know, for example, being in charge, should make my younger sisters be in charge, but I'm the eldest, you know. So again, I felt like my sisters never fully had respect for me.
Do you think that's because they took on that role as the older sister?
Maybe because I always got told, but it's also because I always got told, oh, you don't look the older one. You look really young. Okay. You know what I mean?
That's a compliment. But
no, it is. Yeah. But then it's just like, because you see me as the younger one, you're not respecting me for who I really am, the older child, you know. So I never really felt that I was respected, you know, from my siblings. I will say we had an all right childhood. We weren't the best, you know. My mum was going through her stuff. You know, she was a young mum at the time. And now being a mum myself, when we were growing up, we just automatically thought our parents were these big people. You know what I mean? Not realising that they were pick-me themselves. You know what I mean? My mum had 3 of us at the age of 21. Yeah. You know, so that was a lot for her.
Was she alone or was she?
She was alone. You know, my dad was there and out. I never really saw him growing up. You know, was never really there throughout our lives as such. Yes, we knew of him. He'd pop by once in the blue moon and stuff like that. But
which can actually be worse than someone being absent.
No, definitely.
Yeah. Depends
because
how a child
again,
receives it.
You're popping in, you're popping out. Yeah. You know what I mean? And sometimes that also stays with you as a woman when you grow older, when you're actually finding your own relationships. You know. But again, still back on the childhood situation. I enjoyed my childhood. Like, I really enjoyed my first house that I lived in with my mum, you know, my sisters. And then, like, years later, we had brothers. I'm, like, 10 years and 11 years older.
Really?
They're my 2 other brothers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is this on your mum's side?
This is still my mum's side. These are still my mum's kids. Yeah. I'm saying everyone just remembers, like, me and my sisters, really. You know what I mean? Because, as I said, years later, that's when my brothers came.
Out, yeah. No way.
You know? So, you know, being a child, I just felt like, yes, everyone told me I was pretty. I've heard it all my life, but I don't think people really saw me.
Me, yeah. Who are you?
You know what I mean? No one didn't really see me.
Yeah.
And this is where I am now, trying to make people see the real me. Inside. And I felt like I also done that when I appeared on Benefit Street. You know, people saw...
2000, wow.
2000, yes, because my daughter was born 2010. They filmed us 2011, 12. Yeah, so she was 1.5 when the show was aired.
How was that experience?
Benefit Street weren't...
Was that your first, like, national kind of speaking about who you are? Nationally?
Yes.
Because you already established model, you know, bringing Shirel to the table. Was that your first time?
That was my first time because I never really been on TV before that, apart from being on GMTV as a kid. With my mum and stuff, but that was more for her thing. We was just there. So it's not until Benefit Street came along where I think the public and even just people in my family kind of saw who I was there as well, you know.
At that stage of your life?
Yeah, because from 15 to 22, I hardly saw family members due to the domestic violence relationship that I was in. You know, and even when I was allowed to speak to them or see them, it was for a set amount of time.
Controlled relationship.
You know what I mean? So, again, 7 years, I also still missed out on a lot of things when it came to family, and just trying to build a relationship with them. So it was hard. Domestic violence, I said, I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but it's a thing that people go through, you know what I mean? As you said, not even just in relationships, family members have been abused sexually.
Personally, I think it happens more. I think relationships, this whole push with just the relationship, domestic violence, is kind of distracts us from what the actually domestic violence actually means. So when actually we talk about it, no one actually really takes a family domestic violence as serious as, oh, it's different.
Yeah.
It's all that, oh, but it's different.
No,
it's the same.
Not, it's the same. It's abuse. But I think in our culture as well, whatever happens in a household must stay in a household and be swept under. But then when you're in a domestic relationship that's not with somebody in the household, you must go to the police, you must do this, you must do that.
Same police that we're not supposed to trust and we're not supposed to...
You know what I mean?
It's all back.
Type of thing.
That's another...
So, another topic for another day, because we couldn't be here for
hours. No, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, where does the black woman, the black man, but where does the woman, the black woman who carries the life, who makes the choice, who keeps the household together, where does she find that?
Where does she?
To run to when things go wrong? Because you can't run to a sister, because a sister's probably going to be like, well, it's hers, you're right. Or you can't run to your mum, or it's probably your fault. You can't run to the man because he's the one who's... And
then, as I said, sometimes when you have family members that are doing the same thing to girls that you're going through, who are you supposed to call? You can't call them.
Culture.
You know what I mean? You can't call them. And then when I was going through it, the one cousin that I did have that I was so close to, I wouldn't have wanted him to get into any madness. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, they did at times. However, I really tried my best not to.
Yeah, of course.
Because as much as he's my cousin, he's my brother. You know what I mean? As I said, like, as much as I'm the oldest of 5, I came into this world and found cousins, you know, and there's 2 cousins that, especially one cousin, is like my brother, you know. When he watches this, he's going to be like, oh no, she's talking about me. Yeah. But, yeah, and he's just been a great support anyway throughout my life, you know what I mean? Like,
is he older than you?
He's older than me, you know, we're both Virgos. He's my older cousin. I go to him about anything and everything, relationships, money, advice, everything, you know. So nice. I really appreciate him. And yeah, just... I've just like...
Just got through it. We're going to go back to that. I want to talk a bit about your modelling, how you got into the modelling. So, you suffered domestic violence for, since childhood, but what inspired you to push towards the modelling. And, because you mentioned, everyone's always told us I was pretty. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So did you use that kind of and channeled that and thought that's something?
I don't even think it was the prettiness either, because as I said, I've heard it all my life. And it's just like, as much as I heard it all my life, I used to get beat for looking pretty. So being pretty to me is...
It's not a good...
It's not a good thing. It's not the end or be all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Type of thing. Yes, I like to look good, as you can see, and whatnot. However, I know there's been times where this face has had bruises on and stuff like that. So I'm just grateful to God for healing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the modelling for me was... Got told about it as a kid, like, oh, you should do modelling and stuff, but I never understood what modelling really was until I used to watch America's Next Top Model. And then one day at the Novotel Hotel, I think I was about 14, there was an auditions going on there. So me and my cousins, we just thought, let's just go. People told us we should do modelling. And I got scouted out of like the 1,000 people that was there. But back then, the pictures were fully expensive, you know what I mean? And my mum, she couldn't afford it. Let's just keep it real. She couldn't afford the photos like that. So it was just a thing that, I thought, I done the little audition. People class me as a model or think I do modelling. It is what it is. Yeah. Got into my relationship. Left the relationship.
Was that your first one, domestic violence?
Yes, that was my first ever relationship. As I said, when I left that, I went on holiday with my cousins, and I bought the Tina Turner book. And I can't even remember what the book was called, but it was from Tina Turner. And I was just reading it and watching her movie. Yes, I knew she went through domestic violence, but reading her book was more knowledge and everything like that. And I felt everything that she was saying because I went through it, you know, and I was like,
so she inspired you.
She inspired me. I don't really have that much role models or idols and stuff like that, but
well, if we followed should we follow the
you know what I mean? However, when I read her book, and there's a part in there where she said something like, from when you're still breathing and you've got dreams, go for your goals. And I was just literally on the beach, and I think I read that line about 3, 4, maybe
nothing
5
worse
times.
Than being alive but dead inside.
But dead inside. And that's what I was. You know, like a dead man walking in it. And for years, that's how I felt, that I was just walking on this earth alone. So when the modelling came, it was more of a coping mechanism for me. And to also just show other people that don't let your past define you. So, thank you, babe. So, when I started, Benefit Street came, I started to do auditions. No, just when Benefit Street came, I had left my daughter's dad by then, and I thought, you know what? I need to have me time. I need to concentrate on me, because even with my daughter's dad, I don't think we really got to experience each other properly.
Yeah.
Because when I got with him, I just kind of wanted to be with somebody, because me and my son were used to having somebody around. However, I don't think my daughter's dad got the best
of you,
of me,
of everything.
You know what I mean? Because I was hurt, and I was still quite young and healing. You know.
Is he older than you?
He's older than me. The first guy I've really been out that was older than me. Even though my son's dad was only about a year older than me.
You know what I mean.
But yeah, a few years older. And I just wanted that family. So anyway, as I said, the modelling came, and I just started doing auditions and paying for myself to maybe go castings in Milan, and I was trying to invest in me, you know what I mean, and just try and make a life out of me. I didn't even want to be, at first, it wasn't even about being a successful model. It was just about doing something for me that made me happy.
You say focusing trying to
focus on something else. Yeah. You know, and because I got told why shouldn't you do it, okay, then why not? Because clearly people see the potential in me more than I do. You know, so let me try and go for it. So when I started going for it, and people are like, oh my gosh, you're amazing, you can walk, you can do this. I'm like, really? They're like, who taught you? And I said, nobody, self-taught. And I just watched America's Next Top Model, Britain's Next Top Model, tried to audition for that, but I was too old at the time, and I was still in my 20s.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I think the cut-off was 25. I could have been 26, 27 at the time. And remember, I did start my modelling as I think I was 24, practically, when I started. Even though I got scouted at 14, them 10 years was still, I had my life going on. So, and then I remember one day doing a fashion show, and I didn't have no one there to support me, no friends, no family, no nothing, and I just went. And the cheering that I got from the strangers, from the crowd, I was like, oh my gosh.
It's clearly it's not about
it's not that, you know what I mean? And clearly I must be doing something good, because these people don't know me, you know. And I got off that stage, and they was like, oh my gosh, no. The next Naomi Campbell, you were great, you were fierce, you were this. And I didn't see none of that, you know what I mean? To me, I felt like I was just walking. I didn't even think it was my best walk, because I was still new to the game, you know. So I absolutely loved modelling, because as much as I could wake up and see all my bruises on my body, I'd be on that catwalk and I wouldn't see.
Else, SB to the world.
That's what I'm saying. I'd be SB to the world. You know what I mean? Shirel would be right there, but then SB would just walk out, and SB would just be vibrant, loud, funny.
But you hear a lot of stories from celebrities that say the same thing. They're actually shy. Beyonce, all these big, amazing stars, they're actually shy, but when they're actually out there, they're like, something takes over.
Yeah.
So that's just, I think that just comes with, you need that
in the need
ego kind of thing. You've worked with, you're published international, Milan,
Yeah, I've been to Milan. I've worked for a company in London called Jules Eyes.
London Pacific Fashion
Week, and they also made me get published in Australia newspaper for one of their designers that I worked for. So that was great.
Black Beauty magazine.
Again,
my childhood magazine. My sister used to read it, so I was like, I used to read the book. So that was a childhood magazine. So when I seen that, I was like, oh my God, Black Beauty.
Trust me. And then to know that I was in that magazine as well for nearly like 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like
amazing.
Great. Every edition or whatnot, I was in there and I was like, oh my gosh. There was one day, I think I had about 3 books and I went to my mum. I was like, oh my gosh, mum, look. There was about 5 pictures of me, and then I was just like, can't believe that's just me. You know what I mean? Like, as much as it's SB, I also was looking at it like, oh, Shirel, you've come so far. So far. And I wouldn't wish it on my daughter. As you know, the world's going on with madness right about now. The last incident that we've just had with the young girl, you know, so I am scared and weary for my daughter, and even for myself still. As much as I'm out of the relationship, I still watch certain things to show me red flag signs. And
I was talking about that on a previous podcast. We need to educate our daughters to prevent certain situations from happening. We need to take accountability and responsibility. There's evil people in the world since man began.
Of course. Why do we
sometimes expect the world to... You go outside, something happens. He shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have done that. How could we have managed our environment to prevent that situation? Because it comes with discipline and things we don't want to do, but we need to do it to protect ourselves. I think once we get that, and not just about living our best lives, because sometimes our best lives can be very detrimental.
Of course, there's a lot of people think that they're living their best lives, and they're not. My best life for me is eternal life. That's my best life, and that's what I'm waiting for. You know what I mean? And this is why, as much as I've gone through so much, why I give God all the praise, because people be like, oh my gosh, you do this, you do that, but you're a Christian. I'm saying, I am a child of God.
What do you know what I mean? But you're a Christian, I don't.
Like to say, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. But again, I always say, people, salt looks like sugar.
Who is without sin? You
know what I mean?
So, that's another story.
You know, so...
I think if people are trying to help you go where you want to go, then there's... what's it called? What's that word where it's criticism? Constructive criticism is, but it depends who it's off. That's so important. I'm not taking advice from someone that isn't where I want to, isn't somewhere I want to be. Not disrespectfully, I'll listen, but I was go. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's so important. Going back to what you said as well, Shirel, about not having people around you, environment matters. And I think a lot of things, I was having my last podcast, the architect was talking about, he had a nurturing environment from young. They knew he was talented, they nurtured his dreams. We don't, in Birmingham as well, we don't have enough of that. There's so many reasons why, so many factors, but there isn't enough, and that's the main issue. I think the more we start taking accountability for the shortcomings of our positions in life, as parents, as role models, as teachers, as careers, as professionals, as community workers, as everything, because things are still happening, whether we like it or not. We can march, we can speak, but how are we leading from homes? I believe it starts at home, not for your career, not what you're talking online, not for what you're showing. Is your home life right? Is your wife happy? Is your children happy? Are you, what
did they say? You're a product of your environment.
Of course. Is your foundation happy at home? I don't care if you're married. Are you happily married?
Exactly.
Are you structured in the godly environment, the principles and the ethics that you want to show the world,
the morals and the values
through your career? It's beyond that, and I think that's where we're going wrong. And a new world, and the sustainability of the new world has to come from within. They're the goals.
And I also think it's as well because a lot of us came over here as well. I feel like if we stayed back home or family, we probably things would have been also different.
You know what? I mean, I don't think the problem was coming here. I think it was staying here.
Staying,
That's what I think.
And that's why I say don't belong where you don't belong. Don't belong where you don't belong. You know what I mean? And I feel like
you said that on the phone a couple of
and
weeks
because
ago.
we've stayed so long, we've got used to their way. And their way was never really our way.
No.
You know what I mean? So it confused us.
Of course it did.
As well. So then
the
kids were confused. Exactly. Well. They weren't really educated. No. So again, not to go back to the childhood as such, because we've kind of moved from there, but childhood is important.
Of course it is. I'm
like,
practitioner in that. It's
I feel like even for myself with my kids, my son was traumatized from the womb, I believe. You know what I mean? Losing my first daughter, I was traumatized after losing her. You know what I mean? I was still young, 16, you know, having to bury a child at 16, and then having to have another child going through what you're going through as a hurt person. So yes, I inflicted hurt as well upon my child.
But you can take account.
But I've taken, of course, I've taken accountability.
I've wrote
my son a letter and everything, and I've said sorry how many times, you know what I mean? And I just wish as well that other mums would take accountability. But again, we say, you know, nothing before it's time.
Yeah, I was saying that. Yeah.
You know, nothing before it's time. But my journey hasn't been easy. But I would say to the young girls and anyone out there, just like, walk with God. From when you walk with God, yes, good and bad is going to come to you regardless.
Oh, man.
But you have to keep that faith, because He's kept me for 37 years. Even just like yesterday, I was bawling because I just got my results from uni. I passed level 4, 5 and 6 in Bachelor's Arts for my business management.
Well done.
You know, with everything that I've been going through, trials, tribulations, and I haven't took not one resit from uni. I didn't take a day off. I was the first one in uni every time it was a class of the first one in there. You know, as much as I walked to uni crying, once I walked into that building.
Determination.
You know what I mean? SB to the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It needs to be switched on when it needs to be switched on.
But it needs to be, you know. But I am grateful for all my accomplishments. As I said, I've been Beyonce's body double twice. I've never met her. You know, I know she's a Virgo like myself. So, you know.
I've met her. I'm not a fan. Sorry.
I'm more of a Kelly Rowland, you know.
I haven't met her, but yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to meet her too. But yeah, I always say, so just grateful for that. You know, I worked with Tyler Perry this year.
And Damon Dash.
Yes, Damon Dash. We went to his Gems Knowledge debate show in London.
Would you say, can I ask you a question, Shirel?
Yeah.
Would you say justice has been served for you?
I don't think justice was served.
Because he did go to prison, didn't he?
He did, but he went for 2 years and only had to do 12 months.
Have you made peace with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've made peace with it all. I said, I look at my bruises, you know. I've definitely, you know, because I feel like if I didn't make peace with it, I'd still be hurt and angry. And
How has it affected your children? Now, where would you say you are now with them?
Me and my daughter, we have a great relationship. Again, I feel like because me and my son's relationship, or we was going through so much at the time, I never really got to see my daughter as much as she lived with me. So never really got to see her. And
you was with him a lot.
And it was me and him at first, you know what I mean? Before she even came, it was me and him, you know. So again, he went through a lot of things with me, which has gone through now him in his life.
So it's affected him.
It's affected him. You know, my daughter, she knows what I've gone through because, again, I've been open with her so that she can look for the signs if it happens, because I keep saying to her, as much as she don't like it, tomorrow's not promised and I might not be here. So I need to tell you certain things.
As a woman.
To educate you. You know what I mean? Because I'm not always going to protect her. But there's one person that will guide you if you walk with him, and I try and let her know, don't leave God's side.
Girl.
You know what I mean? Yeah. He's reached out his hand to you, grab it.
Yeah.
You know?
And we live in that,
and as much as it's not and I know it's not easy for them because they're still kids. You know what I mean? But we have to program to them now.
Just like we were
even like my son, as much as where he is and whatnot, he's a believer. You know what I mean? He still prays, and he grew up in church. My son would open church, you know what I mean, with a Sabbath day prayer and all them sorts of things there, Sabbath school.
How old is he now?
He's 18.
Would you say you're closer with him now as you've got older?
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, it hasn't been easy. I've done my part to mash up our relationship, but also fix it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's all you can do.
And that's all.
You can't focus on
No.
I think a lot of women focus too much on what the man's not doing and forget what they should do.
And what we should be doing.
Do you understand me?
Mm-hmm.
Don't respond for them, because when the child grows up, that's their business.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of us don't. What I've seen growing up, I ain't got children, and the reason why I haven't yet, because I just haven't found a man suitable. But that's another story. I've probably met him, but I've not gave him
as
a
it
chance.
goes.
It
Yeah, it is.
I'm not fretting. It is what it is.
It is. I'm not in no rush. I've been single 12 years now.
So I'm not really.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know, I've been single 12 years. Yes, I've seen 1 and 2 guys, been speaking to somebody for the last 2 years as such, but again, there's no consistency there, and I need consistency. But then at the same time, I can't expect these men to be consistent with me if they're not going to be consistent with God.
This is it.
And that's where I really am. As much as people keep saying, she keeps talking about God, she keeps,
no,
I have
that's what
to.
It's about. That's
because that's what it's about.
That's
you know what I mean?
He
brought me to it and brought me through it.
Sister.
Domestic violence, losing my child, being raped, being stabbed, everything, the good, going through uni, relationship with my son,
everything.
Whatever, my relationship with my sisters, my mum, you know what I mean?
Has your son got a good relationship with his dad? Do they see each other?
I think so. Yeah. You know, he's older now, so I just leave them to it, let them do what they want to do.
But he's in contact with
him. But I think they have, I
think
they have their contacts and their relationship. And again, I just pray for them.
Yeah.
That's all I can do. As much as my baby father hurt me so much, he doesn't even know how much times I've prayed for him to be a better person for my son and for the other children that he's got, you know.
You're just healing. Your journey, you're healing.
Yeah.
And you're just.
And I feel like this is why I've wore white as well today, because I just want to be on this pure journey. You know what I mean? Like, literally, if it's not for me.
We're not perfect.
No.
We're supposed to try our best to do
better, be better. You know what I mean? And that's all I'm trying to do.
We all know what we should be doing.
Yes.
We all know. We all like to talk about, you know, with this, with that. So let's be about this and that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because we're going into a new world now where we either, you know, there's no in between.
No.
Pick a side.
Literally. Now. Literally. So it's either the good or the bad.
And if we want to be better people, better women, better mothers, better children, better colleagues to be around, just better people all around.
Because I was even though my childhood weren't too bad, I was a B. You know what I mean? Okay. A bitch.
Oh, okay.
Like, to my mum, and at times because
the environment.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Not having my dad really there. So when my mum would beat me or whatnot, I'd stamp up the stairs and she'd be like, Shirel, come back down the stairs and go back up them again. And the same stairs she just told me not to stamp, I'd stamp. You know what I mean? But
was that part of the frustration and all that growing up and not being seen or heard? And everything just...
Because as I said, I'm the oldest of 5. Even at school, people used to think my sisters were older than me. They were matured, you know, body-wise, boobs, bum, hips, so this, that, and other. You know what I mean? I've never had that. Still ain't big 37, and I'm still waiting for them to grow. So if anyone's got any donations, thank you.
No, but that's what... It's about being confident, unapologetically.
Definitely.
With who you are and shining from within.
Yeah. And I was never happy with myself at first because, as I said, being in school, no one ever really liked me. Yeah. So now the guys that never liked me in school, the one that kind of like me now, and I'm like, boy, bye.
I'm not saying nothing.
Because the same person I was then is kind of the same person now. I'm just elevating more. You know what I mean? So
I'm going to wrap it up because we're going over time. What is in store for Shirel? SB, what's in store for the, you know, modelling with your Why campaign? I think that's so important. What's your purpose? What's the going forward? What social impact do you want on society?
Yes, so for me, I'm trying to reach out to women and children from 14 onwards, to let them know your past don't define you. And as I said, I want to SB Boutique stands for She's Beautiful. You know what I mean? SB to the world means she's beautiful to the world. And that's not looks. That's just within inside. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because these women have gone through so much and they've got told they will never be nothing and whatnot. But you are beautiful to the world. You are beautiful to God. He is the world.
And you just let him
you know what I mean, let him take control. You know what I mean? But I want to be with them on their journey and help them. You know, the women, I want them, my business eventually is to also collaborate with Women's Aid and have my business to be international. You know what I mean? Because as I said, it's SB to the world. She's beautiful.
To the world,
To the world. There's women all over the world and kids getting abused. For me, I'm just going back to uni to do my last year in Masters in entrepreneurship. And then, God willing, by the time I'm 40, SB Boutique should be up and running with my modelling school as well, because I want to join the two for them because I want the women that have gone through the abuse to be the face of my business.
Where does your daughter fit into this?
But she's a photographer. She wants to be a photographer now.
She's growing up. So what is she gonna do?
Yeah, Kiwi, she wants to be a photographer, guys. So anyone that watches this, if you got any photography skills that you can just help her with, grab her for a day, whatever she wants to do photography. So for me, when I have these little workshops going on, she would also be there taking behind the scenes footages and stuff like that to build her career and her portfolio. But again, just like when we were kids, our mums never really had the funds for us to do what we needed to do. So that's where I'm really trying to now make sure that I have the funds. You know what I mean? So that she has to, so that when she's 35, 36, my age, she doesn't have to go to uni then. You've already gone to uni. By the time she's my age, she should, as she says, she wants a big mansion. She wants to be in Miami.
Was that the Y campaign?
No, the SB Boutique.
Tell us a bit about the Y campaign, just quickly.
Y campaign is not exactly my event, but I've been
spokeswoman.
Yes, so the Y event is a campaign that's held for women that have gone through domestic violence and stuff like that. And again, throughout the day, there's shows like acting being held, people telling their stories. It's just bringing awareness again. So it's not my campaign, it's a girl called Naomi Donald. So if you look,
part of it.
I was part of the first one, and I still want to be part of it because they still reach out to me now. It's just been busy. But when I say I'm a spokeswoman for people that have gone through domestic violence, people that reach out to me, and I try and help them and guide them. Because even yesterday, 2 days ago, a woman was like, I just watched Benefit Street. That was 12 years ago. So and she was just like, I want to say how amazing you are and how adorable your kids are. Keep going. You know, so
nice to hear.
I want, definitely, especially when you're still going through things and you feel like you're not worthy.
What about Mothers Against Gangs? Tell us a bit about
Moms Against Gangs. I started that in 2019, went to Ghana 2020, came back COVID. Went to uni basically to get my business degree, because for anything that I want to do, I just wanted to make sure that I have that business degree. So Moms Against Gangs is for us mums that don't tolerate certain behaviours. Our kids may be where they are, but we don't mean that we condone their behaviour. You know, so as mums, let's get together from different areas. You know what I mean?
Children that have experience, or
certain
people
things.
that's children that we need to
let's get together and not be warring. You know what I mean? I'm from Laidwood. I know mums in Handsworth, Newtown. I lived in all of them areas as well. So let's get together, because as kids, our kids used to play together, but it's only because we've moved areas why now these kids and whatnot are in beef or whatnot with each other, postcodes, and it's just like,
we need to be present.
You know what I mean? So as much as Moms Against Gangs, there are thoughts also. I know Hector, I think he started to do one before called Fathers Against Gangs or something like that. And that's what we need more of. We need more men, because always us women trying to do, because that's really nurturing, that's us. But where are our men?
I think there's a lot of gangs, culture, you know, all these representations, but I think there's a lot of things it need to start at home.
Yeah.
You can all say gangs, culture, we need to be that, but are you, your background, what are you doing for your children? Are you in a position where I can say this because my kids are well presented and do you know what I mean? So I think as long as we're working with our kids and our environments and our foundations, we can help build all this.
Of course.
But until the foundation's not set at home, it's not going to work. And I know a lot of people, I'm not saying no names, but I know a lot of people that represent certain community projects, and you're like, okay, but what, your home life, and this is why things aren't getting done.
Exactly.
You're not getting the sustainable. Not that they're not getting done. Bits are getting done, but it's not sustainable because you're not sustainable as a person.
And that's why I needed to make sure that I was healed.
Yeah. Before
I can do anything to make a difference to this world. You know, and God willing, I'll be here for a long time, so I am going to be making changes.
Amen, sister. You know?
As I say, change your story to change your life, and what's for us won't pass us. So
amen. Amen. Sorry. So we've got the Y organisation, SB's boutique, more modelling, more acting.
Yes,
Can't go into it, we've got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
But where can we find you, SB?
Find me on Instagram.
So you got me saying SB. Where should I find you, Shirel?
You can find me on Instagram. I've got 2 Instagram pages. So one is called The Real SB to the World, and that's just me.
Yeah.
And then you've got Sherell _SB model _
That one.
That's the one that you have, and that's just my modelling and all my work.
Yeah.
But the other one is the realness of Sherell, me with my kids, me outside.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just not still images. You know what I mean?
Is that the only social media platforms you got at the
moment?
moment?
No, I've got my Facebook, but I haven't really used Facebook in a long time, but still my Facebook is called Adjua, because that's my Ghanaian name. And then we have my Snapchat, but again, that's just personal. So, yeah. So Instagram for now. Yep, Sherell _SB _model. So keep your eyes open, guys.
Thank you. Inspirational stories. It's just very, touching and emotional. Guys, Instagram, Sherell the model, Sherell SB. Thank you for watching.